Always one of the greatest moments throughout any Nintendo game is finding its Easter eggs, usually included as a bonus for you to come across on your adventures, paying homage to some sort of inside joke, or even another franchise entirely. This love for these experiences, and the release of Tears of the Kingdom, gave me the idea to create my previous video about Zelda references in every Mario game. But here, I want to showcase the inverse, looking now at Super Mario Easter eggs in every Zelda entry, going over each one starring the green tunic wearing knight, looking for any mention of the Mushroom Kingdom within them. Oh yeah, and before we get started here, my name is Copycat, and if you haven't yet then please subscribe to my channel, hitting that bell to stay notified when I upload new videos. The very first entry in the series was The Legend of Zelda that came out for the NES in 1987, although it was actually developed basically at the same time as the original Super Mario Bros. Entry, and creator Shigeru Miyamoto intentionally kept them very different. While developing these games, he separated his ideas into two piles, ones that would work best with fast-paced platforming, and the others that work best in a more top-down dungeon-crawling setting, ensuring that they were two very unique experiences. However, one thing that did cross over to the Zelda realm is the Manhandla boss of the third dungeon, which according to the Japanese manual, states that it's a four-limbed, jumbo-sized piranha plant, where the one-limb version can be found throughout almost every Mario entry. I do get this is a bit hard to make out due to the rudimentary 8-bit graphics of that time, but the similarities are definitely still there, and in later versions this becomes a lot more clear. The only sort of reference to the Mario series that exists in Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link, is the fact that it's mainly a platforming experience, something that's really more akin to what's associated with the mustachioed human. This type of gameplay is really only one of the only times it shows up in this franchise, which is what makes it so divisive, where you have to fight your way through dungeons in this side-scrolling setting, facing off against some truly insane enemies. There's no other explicit reference to Mario or Mario-related things, you can just tell they wanted to try something new and drew from it for inspiration. Next, we're going to look at the Super Nintendo's A Link to the Past entry, which has a few very interesting Mario Easter eggs I want to look at, starting with some paintings that you can find in the homes of Kakariko Village. These of course are of Mario himself, and can definitely be missed if you aren't paying attention to the small details. Although the developers really didn't try to hide the fact that it's him, like they sort of do in later entries, you'll see. One enemy from the Super Mario Bros. Series that actually shows up a few times in Zelda titles is the Chain Chomp, with its appearance in the 7th dungeon of the Dark World being its very first. Here they do look slightly more vicious, but act pretty much the exact same, lashing out, trying to take a big bite out of Link, while also being invincible to any attack. The final thing I want to mention is the music that can be heard when you visit the Fairy Fountain, as it's a remix version of what plays during the Waterland levels of Super Mario Bros. 3. I think there could be a few more instances of this happening in this one, but it's the best example that I could find, so if you know of any others, then please let me know in the comments below. Oddly, one of the smallest games, The Legend of Zelda, Link's Awakening, has the most Mario Easter eggs you'll see in this video. But this might have to do with the fact that the island you're on is actually the dream realm of the Windfish itself, which is probably why a character like Ward appears. This main villain of Super Mario Bros. 2 is known as the Terrorizer of Dreams, meaning him showing up is somewhat valid, even if here his name is changed to Mamu. Instead of being the bad guy, he here sings to you alongside his frog choir for a small price, giving you the Frog Song of Soul that needs to be used to unlock certain portions of the game. Maybe this is someone that's sort of related to Wart, or they just wanted to use the same character sprite, I'm not sure, but if anyone knows any other information then please let me know. There's also a character you're initially rescued by named Terran, who actually looks extremely similar to Mario, just minus the hat. I mean, at points he even carries mushrooms and then gets transformed into a raccoon, an obvious nod to that power-up from Super Mario Bros. 3, so this definitely wasn't a mistake. Luigi can also be seen on this mysterious island as the Kuko Keeper. I think it's Kuko, you know what, please, I don't know. He doesn't have any mushrooms, and as far as I know, he's not related to Tarin, but the green color is an obvious giveaway. Link's Awakening also has two references to everyone's favorite dino buddy, Yoshi, as not only does the Windfish egg look a lot like a giant Yoshi egg, but there's also a cute little plushie item that you can get. This is found as a prize in the Mabe Village Trendy game, which then can be given to a baby in exchange for a ribbon. Now, by far the funniest, but somewhat disturbing Mario Easter egg is the picture of Princess Peach that Mr. Wright was told is a woman named Christine, where in the end, you find out he's being catfished by a goat from the Animal Village. This is definitely weird, but I guess in this dream realm, anything goes. And I wonder if Animal Village is supposed to be a reference to Animal Crossing, even if that series wouldn't come out for a few more years. Just quickly, I want to go over every crossover enemy which this game has, starting with the friendly Chain Chomp, Shy Guys, Boos, Piranha Plants, Goombas, Bob-ombs, Thwomps, Pokies, Cheep Cheeps, Bloobers, and Spinies. Again, this game is almost more like a Mario game than it is a Zelda title, something I think was definitely intentionally thought out. The first game in the series based in the 3D realm is The Legend of Zelda, The Ocarina of Time, which contains both obvious and subtle references to Mario, starting with the pictures that you can actually find in the Hyrule Castle. If you're in the courtyard area, then you can look through this one window and see portraits of Yoshi, Peach, Mario, Bowser, and Luigi, hidden within a room of the castle. As a kid, I remember finding out about this secret and loved showing it off to my friends, something I guess I still do with you guys to this day. Also, oddly in the 3DS version, they removed these paintings, replacing it instead with what looks like a level from New Super Mario Bros. The more subtle one I was alluding to are found through the characters of Talon and Ingo, but I think if you're paying attention, this is pretty cut and dry that they're Mario and Luigi. These are the owners of Lon Lon Ranch, where as a child you can play their chicken game for a bottle of milk, and as an adult, can get your horse Epona from his daughter Malin. Another addition that's a reference you may have missed are the few enemies that are definitely reminiscent of classic Mario foes, starting with the Deku Scrubs. These always reminded me of Sniffits that debuted back in Super Mario Bros. 2, shooting projectiles or rushing towards you with their strange looking faces. The other is the Deku Baba, which is literally just a more realistic looking version of the Piranha Plants. And I won't lie, I definitely love seeing these classic baddies show up in a very different way. Next to be released is the incredibly different feeling, almost surreal, Majora's Mask entry. Set within the strange realm of Termina, but still containing some great Mario Easter eggs. The very first can be seen on the back of the Happy Mask Salesman, who has a bunch of different faces adorned on his backpack, including one of the mustachioed man. This is a really weird reference and somewhat morbid, as there are theories that the masks are actually faces of dead people, meaning that somehow Mario came across this already sketchy salesman and somehow was captured and killed. Ugh. Character references to Mario and Luigi do however show up, in the form of Mr. Barton, the bartender of the members-only milk bar, or through the Gorman brothers, who are a traveling troupe of performers adorned with fabulous facial hair. Either way, these are at least meant to be mirrors of Talon and Ingo from the previous N64 entry, who of course, like I just mentioned, are obviously based on the Mario Bros. One of the strangest set of Zelda games are the Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages Game Boy entries, both containing some Mario Easter eggs, starting with the appearance of a Thwomp, named here Head Thwomp, and found in the Wing Dungeon as its boss. This enemy is much more complex than its Mushroom Kingdom counterpart, not only slamming down to the ground, but also shooting fireballs and bombs from its head. What you have to do to defeat it is throw your own bomb in its open head top at the exact moment it cycles through to its red face, as that's the only way that you can deal any damage to it. Other than that, of course Talon, aka Mario, makes an appearance here, living again with his daughter Malin. This still really does look like Mario even in the 8-bit form, and at one point when you meet with him, he's actually surrounded by a few mushrooms, so it's not like they're really even trying to be that subtle. The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker is the next game we're going to look at in this video, and only has a few references to the Super Mario Bros. Franchise, starting with the character Mako. I didn't even realize this, but apparently this seafaring pirate strongly resembles Professor E. Gadd, who usually only appears in the Luigi's Mansion subseries of games, of course being short and stout while possessing strange swirled pupils in his eyes. This probably has something to do with both games debuting on the GameCube, and using his asset would save a lot of time and energy, even if it is a bit random. The only other thing I think that's worth mentioning is that the Armos Knights somewhat look like they're sporting a mustache, more akin to what we see with Wario, rather than our main man Mario. I really don't know why these strange statue-like beings would have this association with the Mushroom Kingdom, especially as previous versions and even later versions don't even look like that. Some people might not consider the Four Swords Adventure game mode as a full experience, but it still has several references that are relevant in this video, including a bunch of crossover enemies. These are the Thwomps, regular and big Cheep Cheeps, and Chain Chomps. Although really these aren't that out of place in this setting, as the game already feels arcadey and not really an official part of Hyrule Kingdom. Also, there's characters that show up that we've already discussed in Talon and Mako, but honestly there's not much of a story here, as they're really just placeholders in this game. Another very out of place game in the franchise is the Game Boy Advance Minish Cap Adventure, which still contains some interesting Mario Easter eggs I want to showcase, starting with a familiar sound effect. This is the beanstalk growing one that can be heard in many Mario titles. Where in this Zelda one, there are a total of 5 that you can find in the game, needing to use them to gain access to the cloud area. Sound familiar? Yeah. Another sound effect that can be found in this Mario game is through the use of the Wind Ocarina, which is actually the sound of the warp whistle in the Mustachioed Man's 3rd installment. Final reference I want to mention is the fact that the chain link fences you come across are similar to those found in Super Mario World's various castles, used from the top-down perspective. Believe it or not, this actually works pretty well, and even though the gameplay is slightly different, it still looks and acts basically the same. The Twilight Princess GameCube/Wii entry has only one reference at all to the Super Mario Bros. Series, but in a strange way through a character named Fire. If you go up to the zany character and look closely at his arm, you'll notice that he has a patch of a bullet bill on his jacket. Something incredibly random, especially as that enemy never shows up in any Zelda title. I mean, I guess if you think about it, he does operate a cannon, and where do bullet bills come from? You know, the Mario staple cannon launchers? So I guess you can sort of make that connection, but still. Nintendo would make a follow-up to that Wind Waker game we mentioned earlier, with the release of Phantom Hourglass for the DS, randomly containing another reference specifically to Wario through the Gossip Stones. Again, why these usually pretty normal objects have to have a mustache, I have absolutely no idea why. But I guess this might have to fit with the theme of the Armos Knights that we looked at earlier, but again, I have no clue. Oh yeah, and Mako once again appears looking just as Professor E. Gaddy as before. Now, Nintendo would eventually release a spiritual successor to Phantom Hourglass in The Legend of Zelda, Spirit Tracks, containing one Mario Easter egg within this very strange experience, in the Star Fragment treasure that falls from the heavens. This really does look like the Starbit collectibles from the 2 Super Mario Galaxy entries, but here aren't used as currency and have to be traded to obtain rupees or certain upgrades to your train. I won't lie, this is one of the Zelda games that I somehow missed out on playing, so I'd love to know if you guys think this is a good one in the comments below. Probably my favorite top-down game of the entire franchise is The Legend of Zelda, A Link Between Worlds, where Mario and Luigi make an appearance as the Milk Bar owners, albeit in completely different realms. In Hyrule, the owner is a bit chunkier and wears a red shirt, where in Laurel, the owner is a bit slimmer and sports a green shirt, remaining nameless, so it's unclear if they're supposed to be Talon and Ingo or not. This really would be the last time characters looking like their bros would appear in the franchise. Although, I might be wrong because Breath of the Wild was so huge and I might have just missed them, and also I haven't fully played through Tears of the Kingdom yet, as it's too new. Next, we're going to look at a few standout references from the Arcadi Triforce Heroes 3DS entry, where some of the items you can collect are similar to power-ups found within the Mushroom Kingdom, starting with the Fire Gloves. These act identically to the Fire Flower power-up that allows Mario to shoot fireballs at will to defeat opponents, even going as far as having the exact same sound effect. Another item that's similar is the Hammerware outfit, that is a lot like the Hammer Suit from Super Mario Bros. 3, although its function is different, as you don't throw projectiles, and instead just swing your weapon hard to the ground. What's cool is that if you're a different color Link, then technically you look like a different enemy, where red kinda makes you look like a fire bro, and blue kinda makes you look like an ice bro. The final game we're gonna look at in this video, only because the Tears of the Kingdom is too new, is The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, where I really only found one obvious crossover between franchises in the annoying Wizrow baddies. When I first came across this foe, I instantly recognized that it acted very similarly to the Magic Koopa, or Kamek, as it would teleport while fighting you and try to damage you with its wand. I know this isn't the first time it's shown up in the series, but for some reason I just make this connection with this particular version. Alright, that's gonna be it for today's video, guys. I really hope you did enjoy this one. Very soon I'm gonna make some Tears of the Kingdoms based videos, mainly focusing on shrines, so please stay tuned for those. If you like this one, please give it a like, comment below what you thought about it, subscribe to my channel, and please go follow me on Instagram at Copycat Gamer. There I upload some cool clips and items for my collection that you won't see anywhere else. Hope you guys all have a good day, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!